Hello and welcome. We have with us Brigadier Rajiv Williams, a Kargil War veteran who was in charge of the dispatches and media handling during the 1999 Kargil conflict. In fact, that was the first information warfare to say so, if at all, sir. Brigadier Williams, thank you very much for joining us on Republic TV. Brigadier Williams, you were yesterday, talking about in 1971 when the sky was lit and we had platforms and men crossing the borders, and yesterday, on the contrary, 53 years later, we have only the UAVs and munitions crossing borders. What's the difference? What's changed?
Pranav, when I was watching the television yesterday, your channel was what I was watching at that stage when Arnav mentioned that this is the first channel to report of Pakistan launching their UAVs on our military targets.
Right.
And to counter that, obviously, the anti-systems, the AD systems, started firing at these oncoming missiles. And they were visible on the television with the lights that you could see on the sky. So it was lit up. The sky was lit up.
Right.
And that's what reminded me of 1971, when I, the second lieutenant, had just joined the battalion.
Right.
And we were deployed close to Sialkot or Shakargarh, and that was in the Gurdaspur belt.
Right.
And suddenly at about 4:45 p.m. on the 3rd of December, these 5 Pakistani aircraft, Sabres, flew past our locations. And suddenly we saw there was a lot of firing, heard the sounds of firing going on, and Pathankot was bombed,
Right.
was targeted.
Right.
And the anti-aircraft guns started firing, and we could see the tracer bullets.
Right.
And that's what was visible. We couldn't see the bullets, obviously,
Right.
but we could see the tracer bullets
Right.
lighting up the sky. And after a little while, these 5 aircraft, which had entered into India
Right.
from Pakistan, flew back, all the
Right.
same way.
Right.
And a little later, the Indian aircraft chased them.
Chase them. Okay.
And they came back also around the same, maybe after half an hour, 15 minutes later. So we knew that war has broken out.
Right.
We were waiting for that opportunity.
Right.
Everyone waits for an opportunity for a war.
Right.
And we knew that something big has happened and war is almost going to be declared. And sure enough, that very evening, then Prime Minister, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, while addressing the parliament in midnight, declared war on Pakistan.
Right.
So when I saw this yesterday, I said there's so much of similarity, which people have forgotten.
Right.
Only thing is, the difference is that was an image in my mind. That image of 71 was of the aircraft coming into our territory. It was a physical movement.
Right.
Physical movement of a weapon system crossing us and
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Manned by somebody from Pakistan. That war had been declared. Whereas in yesterday's thing, there was just weapon systems which were firing from a distance, and then there were these munitions that were coming, the technological advancement that has taken place, and the similar kind of thing happening from our side, wherein you are targeting the drones by anti-drone AD systems
Right.
and lighting up the sky. So that was a similarity that I experienced, that earlier it was physical crossing. Today it's no more physical crossing.
Right.
That you say that war or warlike situation is before you.
Right. But then, contrary to the formal announcement of late Mrs. Gandhi announcing that this is war, there's no such announcement this time. I want to ask you, is this really war?
I think we're still war in waiting. It's not a declared war, but the positioning, the actions are warlike actions. It's a warlike situation. So a warlike situation would be a little different to actually a declaration of war.
Right.
Between 2 nation states. And that's something which obviously the Apex Committee, that is the Cabinet Committee on Securities, will take a decision and the Prime Minister will make an announcement in due course of time if it is necessary, which to my way of thinking may not even happen in a hurry.
Okay.
That's my thinking. It's
Okay.
nothing to do with, from what I'm viewing and what I'm reading and what I'm thinking, and with the experience in warfare,
Right.
in actual war and combat, whether it was there on Siachen, on Dras, or Kargil, or areas around when I commanded the brigade in Dras itself, is something which I'm sharing. It's my independent visualization of warlike situation around the border. And I salute our soldiers always.
Wonderful, sir. The thing is, now India started it with an anti-terror operation. Pakistan has retaliated. How likely is it to, escalate into a conventional and full-blown war?
See, there are so many dynamics. You just can't have a war out of the blues. I mean, you've got to plan it out in a huge, huge way, which I'm sure our leadership is doing. And at the right time, and the right decision-making process will be on when we have got the capacity to launch a full-scale war at a point of our choosing. It may be done.
Okay.
But as of now, one thing is very clear, that our target selection was brilliant. 100%. Our target selection was on the camps, was on the infrastructure, with an objective in mind of destroying those objectives that you have chosen, which you have rightfully done. You have not targeted the military installations of Pakistan. You have not gone to select targets which will impact huge communities. You have not targeted those places. You have targeted very point target to convey a message.
Correct.
Also to convey a message of the political will, which is one of the elements of a power of a nation state. The national will is behind the political element of power. So you have taken a decision whether to cross, like we did in Balakot strike, or whether now we've been able to fire a long-range missile system, pinpoint target of the highest variety, sitting well ensconced in our own areas, not crossing the international border or the line of control. So we've got that capacity. You've demonstrated that capacity. Pakistan, on the other hand, is trying to target from their own side through drones on military targets, on Indian military targets, which are unacceptable.
Right.
The targeting piece is being done by Pakistan, but our capabilities are being demonstrated by our military by making sure that none of those drones have hit our establishments.
Correct.
That leaves what? Artillery fire? Artillery fire is a normal happening which is taking place before the ceasefire had taken place between India and Pakistan. Erratic fire. We had Kargils, and we've got Siachen activities, we have got Punj activities. Limited operations being conducted in those different pockets.
Correct.
So artillery fire may continue, will continue, but that does not mean war. War means an objective, and our objective, and our military objective, and our political objective has to be achieved. Until that is achieved, then the war doesn't stop.
My question then is, sir, our initial objective was that we were to hit terror targets. Now there is a cross-border firing going on, but from India's side, the objective is achieved. So where does this stop now?
See, Pranav, the point is that, we have demonstrated our resolve, our strengths, and also the fact that there is a limit of tolerance which we can accept. But at the same time, we must have a political and a military objective to achieve, to declare what to go across. It's not always that you have to go across to capture territory. Is that our objective? If that is our objective, fine, which I don't know. Then it will be war. If the objective is that we need to target the leadership, then that leadership objective in Pakistan has to be achieved by different means. If it is to do with the leadership of the terrorists, which we know, whether he is in Hafiz Sayyid is in the lockup, or Jaish-e-Mohammed guy that Hafiz is the target, then we've got to hit those targets. Is that what is the attempt being made? And the leadership is going to take a call. And I have so much of faith and confidence in both our political and military leadership that they will do the right thing.
Okay.
So unless you have an objective in mind, there is no question of actually escalating to a limit beyond that is acceptable.
Okay.
That's my thinking.
The government has repeatedly said that Operation Sindur is ongoing. Does it necessarily, I mean, we don't want to speculate, but as a military veteran, could there be any kind of means to further or further attempts to neutralize the leadership, the terror leadership that sits in Pakistan?
Well, I mentioned that to you because that is something which is an action in being, and I'm not so sure as to what activities are going on at that level. But military leadership or terrorist leadership is a good target. Is a good target.
Okay.
How you achieve it and how you achieve it directly and indirectly are your modes that you will be adopting yourselves.
Right.
And I think that is not war. That is not war unless you have some movement across beyond the munitions that you're firing from your side of safe havens. Till that time, I think physical movement becomes a must to achieve a military aim and a military objective. And that will lead to war if we cross over.
Okay. One question obviously about the intent of the government remains something that we need to wait and watch. Militarily, are we capable of going across and carrying out an Osama-like raid in Pakistan? Just purely in terms of capabilities.
Pranav, our capabilities are second to none. We read lots of activity that take place thousands of miles away, whether it is to do with the SAS going in for it or some Knesset working towards intelligence gathering and targeting leaderships. And the latest book on Tom Clancy's, Defense Protocol, I mean, that's something which takes on so much of the role of the military to target and just to get away. As far as we are concerned, I am convinced that we have the capability of doing the most difficult tasks. And for war, we need to be prepared. Prepared logistically, prepared that we've got supply chains going, and there's no shortage of any equipment or equipment-related munitions that you require to make sure that you have a sustainability in an operation.
Right.
If Pakistan has got sustainability, great, but I don't think they have capability at all to go beyond a level.
Okay.
And if they don't have the capability of going beyond a level, your objective should be clear. In 71, what was our objective? Bangladesh? Yeah, that was the objective of East Pakistan severing itself from West Pakistan and creating a nation state, Bangladesh. As soon as it was achieved, on the 15th of December 1971, war stopped. 16th, there was ceasefire. Absolute ceasefire.
Correct.
So political objective is important, and military objectives obviously will be achieved aligned to the political objective.
So that brings me to my next question, because India has right now diplomatically, economically and militarily kind of in a way choked Pakistan. The internal dynamics of Pakistan are such that there's a BLA which has already started getting active and targeting Pakistani regulars. Can disintegration of Pakistan be in sight, sir? Can that be a military objective too, the military political objective too?
I would think BLA is a very small organization which has demonstrated one big resolve of promoting the fact that they are a neglected lot. The entire Baluchi population is a neglected lot. Now, Balochistan is 44% of the land mass of Pakistan. Percentage as far as population is concerned is low. But they are neglected to the core for years. And if they feel that there is time for independence, and as some claims are there of the BLA, assuming the leadership of Quetta, or saying that, we are in control of Quetta and therefore we need independence, so be it. But that definitely draws the Pakistan military to commit a force in that sector,
Precisely.
which means that there is a lesser number of forces available to him, especially in the area of the open plain of the Southern Command of Pakistan, that is the 12 Corps.
Right.
Based out of Quetta or the Frontier Corps, which has got those 4 divisions in different segments of Pakhtunkhwa or towards Iran, Sistani area.
Right.
So I'm saying that is there. It's all about that. I'm not so sure whether that's going to be our objective, and it's not going to be that. I mean, that's what Pakistan feels, that our interference in all these operations, recent operations being carried out by the BLA, is a work of India. How do they say that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no logic.
They're just probably looking
They
at
are
it as an
carrying
opportune
out their
moment.
operations,
Yeah.
and rightly so. That if you have not been given what you have been promised, almost 70 years or 75 years, then it is up to them to take out that last strength that they have to make sure they get what they want. But that's nothing to do with our objectives,
Okay.
political or military.
Okay.
That's our internal politics of Pakistan.
Okay.
It's a province of Pakistan. They can't look after them.
Right.
If there is an angst against those people, against the Pakistani military, let them resolve it.
Okay.
Let them resolve it. I'm not so sure whether we are interested in that independent, fractured state which is emerging in that CPAC corridor,
Correct.
which is going to become a challenge
Right.
for the future also.
Correct. My next question then would be that, the Pakistan army as such right now is fighting a rather two-front war. Because on one side, as you rightly said, that they have an entire corps. They have 10 corps, Quetta is 10 corps?
12.
12 corps. Plus you have the Indian army now, activating the entire IB and LC. Is it too thinly stretched, the Pakistan army right now?
I would think they're thinly stretched,
Okay.
but the foci gets divided. So there is something like that train incident of early March,
Correct.
which means to crush an insurgency-like situation in Balochistan, you have to draw troops from the eastern Pakistan towards their western Pakistan side or Balochistan. Then they become a bit thin. It happens anywhere, in a two-front war, anywhere taking place, you've got to balance out the power and policies. So this power and balance system that you have to put in place, it varies on the situation which is developing in the area of Balochistan for Pakistan.
Right.
And as of now, definitely they are threatened of independence of Balochistan, and therefore their troops from the west, from their east, that is, towards our side, are likely to be moved out. Therefore, that imbalance of forces is possibility in the future.
Okay.
If it is a possibility, would they like to go for a full-fledged war? With what objective? Jugular vein that Asim Munir is talking
Mentioned.
about
Correct.
of Kashmir.
Correct.
His predecessor, including the late General Pervez Musharraf, tried all sorts of stunts, be it Kargil, or be it his predecessor and General Ziaul Haq. So they have been trying. They have not understood that this is not possible. They have to be worried about their own backyard.
Right.
And let them be not only concerned about India's jugular vein, so what they say, but look after their own jugulars, especially with this new dynamics of China,
Correct.
CPEC, and the angst of the Baluchis and the BLA against those very projects, be it in Gwadar port or be it other places which are linking up towards the entire complex.
Right. When I am looking at this entire conflict, so to say, as an independent Indian citizen, I see that the Indian systems pretty easily went inside and attacked the terrorist installations within Pakistan. Lahore AD was destroyed by the Indian systems, whereas Pakistan's incoming missiles could not penetrate through the Indian systems. Does this talk in any way about the quality of equipment that the Pakistan army is using?
Pranav, don't mind me saying that. Never underestimate your enemy. Never feel that you are superior. The day you start feeling that we are superior forces, you will not be successful.
Okay.
The mindset is on the ground. The ground level troops have to be trained, have to be motivated, because it is the man behind the machine which is the most important factor, not only depend upon the machines and equipment. We've gotten a number of of MOUs and whether with Russia, with Israel, or with others for our air defense systems. These are something which are happening. But you've got to train our manpower to use that weapon system which is coming. And that's what is our strength. And we must never feel that the Pakistani's capabilities cannot be matched with our capabilities or capacities. We believe that. We understand that it can only happen with good leadership, military leadership that we have right at the grassroots level, which is superb. I mean, you see all the operations, including the last Kargil War,
yes.
the young officers, casualties, it was so high because they led from the front.
Yeah.
That's what leadership is all about. So it's leadership vis-a-vis their leadership. And I saw that in 71 myself.
Right.
Whenever we captured those places, those Pakistani soldiers whom we captured, they were abusing their own officers. And then they said, okay, nobody has come.
Yeah.
I saw this in Siachen when we captured Bana Top, Qaid post named after Qaid-e-Azam Jinnah, at the highest in the world, that sport, 21,153 feet. And soon thereafter, when they attacked us, Musharraf that time was the brigade commander, and when he attacked us, we were listening in on our radio sets, and they were abusing their senior officers.
Okay.
They were saying, where is that Pakistani leadership? Where is our company commander or a brigade commander who's giving us orders? Is not seeing for themselves, not sending us the equipment.
Yeah.
Ladders were required, ropes were required. He said, I'm waiting here. That guy's Chima, I remember his name, he was Captain Chima. He got shot up, of course. He died, he was killed. But he was cursing them. So it's a leadership which is very important. And that's what is our strength. Our leadership is strong.
Okay.
And I'm still so confident of our leadership.
Okay.
That, it is making that impact which will win wars.
Talking about leadership, General Munir hasn't spoken a word since the operation started. In fact, it was his comments earlier that are reportedly, allegedly linked to this entire operation, entire terrorist attack that took place in Pahalgam. But then he hasn't spoken a word. Is there some kind of discontent? Is there some kind of internal rift or tension within the Pakistan military establishment?
I mean, I'm just reading things, Pranav.
You're reading is far more.
There is a lot of dissent. There is a lot of angst amongst the Pakistani military. There was a report of a coup or a local coup being done.
Precisely.
But those are all semantics. I mean, there's no credibility to those reports. And I don't think we should believe those things. Asim Munir is an old school thought leader.
Right.
Old school thought meaning that he is from the madrasas, he's grown up that way.
Exactly.
His intent is different. His promotion of education, military education is linked to the hadiths and to the other religious books which are actually being shared in the Pakistan Military Academy. That thrust is being given of jihadis.
Right.
It may not be liked in today's context, but there's a large number who like that context also because they come from the same madrasa schools of thinking. Now his comments or no comments is a story which is on Pakistan military leadership.
Right.
I have not much to say on that, but I think it's not the right time also for either of our leaderships to start talking, whereas we are having our press briefings regularly. Like we did during the Kargil War.
Yeah.
And that's important. You're informing the communities. I mean, today also, I feel the ADGPI's role on perception management is extremely important.
Absolutely.
We've discovered that in Kargil. We've demonstrated that perception management war, information war, was so important in changing the hearts and minds and opinion makers, decision makers, because of what we projected. And that was a truthful presentation of facts.
Right.
Initial years during Kargil War, you may remember or you may have read about it, it was a blackout.
Yeah.
So all kinds of speculations, what you're seeing today.
Yes.
All kinds
of stories going around. Yes.
But then we permitted them to go and see for themselves. Bring out stories. Some went overboard while actual operations they were showing, which was, I think, immature. But there was a sense of being part of the conflict. You as a citizen of India became part of the conflict.
Yeah.
Whether you were reporting from the front or you were sitting in places well deep inside even South India,
Right.
India was one.
Yeah.
It reminded me of 71, how everybody got together,
Yeah.
how everybody mobilized. And soon after the war, I remember when on the railway platforms and on the highways and byways, people used to stop us, giving us something, you know, even a flower
Yeah. Yeah.
or a biscuit, respecting the army.
The army.
Kargil, post-Kargil, respecting the army. But everybody forgets about it after some time.
Yeah.
And I think we should not worry about it. We should do our responsibilities and expect respect in
Right.
return. That's all.
I know we are already, you were already in a hurry to return, go back, but then my final question would be that now that we have a, as you rightly mentioned, that Asif Munir comes from a different school of thought. We have a, I mean, I was talking to a senior army officer who said we have a radicalized army this time. Where does this go from here?
We have a radicalized army.
Army to face, I mean, in the sense we have a
Pakistan.
radicalized Pakistan army to deal with.
Our enemy is a radicalized army.
Yeah, to put it rightly, the Pakistan army of today is radicalized. How do we deal with that enemy?
I think there's no change in our formats. Whether he is radicalized Pakistani military that we are fighting today, or we fought during 1999 during Kargil, it was radicalized that time also. But in our side, it was no change. It was enemy, a visible enemy. There was a tactical deployment. There was a tactical operation. There was a strategic objective to be achieved. And there was this motivation which took the men to the deaths because you had an objective to achieve. Whether it was Tiger Hill or whether it was to do with 4875 or whether it was to do with Tolding or Kalubar or wherever. Or for that matter, in our case, in Siachen of Qaid Post at such an altitude. So that's important, and it's the question of whom we are facing. It's not going to happen. It's going to have an impact on how we're going to operate.
So what should be our objective, a long-term objective, if we really have to deal with Pakistan and end this for once and for all?
See, before we talk about the objective, we're talking about war. We should not loosen our guards at all. In the interiors especially, where the threat is looming. Pahalgam happened. It should not have happened. Kargil happened, it should not have happened. Because our foci changed. There was peaceful atmosphere, everything was going honky-dory. And we thought it was not a threat in being, and we let our guards loose. That's the first thing that we must guard against. And I always keep harping in whatever I write, and whenever I get an opportunity to speak, the basic tactics of a soldier being taught at the academies and at the schools of instructions must never be forgotten. No amount of senior and difficult strategic thought should replace that basic tactics on which everything is built upon.
Wonderful. Brigadier Williams, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank
it was
you.
lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.